Hey everyone, this is Colin at Black Dog Outdoor Sports. So today's video I want to talk about why deer hunters typically don't hit deer with their cars. So that's kind of an interesting thing to think about. Why don't deer hunters typically be the ones hitting deer on the road with their vehicles? So the reason for this video is because we live in the country and it's a fairly busy road and there's lots of cover for deer, and there's been some new housing, that's been going up in those areas, which has kind of changed how the deer move. Plus, seasons are changing right now, so deer are naturally going to be on the move. And if people are not aware of the fact that deer live there, the woods, the world outside, and we're not paying attention for them, we're more likely to run into them, literally. And if we do that, we're doing a couple of bad things. One, we're damaging, maiming, or killing wildlife out of season and unintentionally. We are also damaging our vehicle, making our insurance rates go up through the roof, and we're possibly putting ourselves and others at risk of death or serious injury. So let's watch this video, take some of the things into consideration, and try yourself to learn how to be more of a hunter while on the road. Not a road hunter, because that's not appropriate, but looking out for wildlife, learning how they travel, looking at the seasons, and then staying alert. Okay, so again, why do deer hunters most likely not hit deer with their vehicle? One, it's because we have a great appreciation for wildlife, and we study them. And that's really the point of this. So learning about wildlife, how and when they move, what time of day, what season, and then how do we search and scan. Those are kind of the things I want to touch on. So it is early spring right now. So we should expect to see deer with increased movement 3 basic times of year. 1 would be pre-rut, 2 would be rut, and then 3 is going to be this early spring. So pre-rut is the time when hormones are in the air, deer are getting a little excited, a little confused, and they start wandering around and getting curious about each other. The rut is when things, or the deer, get it on. So they're chasing, they're running, they're traveling through different sectors looking for the appropriate male or female counterpart. And there's a lot more heavy traffic of wildlife through the woods and roads and everywhere else during those 2 key times. The other key time, which is where we are now, which is going to be early spring, is interesting because there's no mating going on right now. But when it's winter, that means that the temperatures get extremely cold, we get a lot of snow, it gets hard to maneuver, there's less food, there's more predator action. The deer will leave their natural habitat and kind of migrate to an area that will be more sustainable to life. So in our area, they come out of the high country and they kind of congregate down in the lowlands by the rivers and streams. Big open flat fields for farming and agriculture. The bigger the field, the more sun it gets, the less snow accumulates, the more food is available. So right now, all winter long, these deer have been down in that kind of winter grounds where food is more accessible and the sun is a little bit brighter and it's easier for them to maneuver around. So when the weather's getting warmer outside, the deer are going to want to go back to their natural habitat area. So they are traveling from one zone to another. And it's an increased movement, and people are not accustomed to that because winter is a fairly slow time, for wildlife. So we need to keep out a close eye in certain areas, right? So now we know the 3 times a year when deer travel and why. We need to kind of look at how and why are deer moving and which paths are they taking. So this is, again, from a hunter perspective, we're looking at their paths. We're looking at the terrain. We're looking at the cover. Deer aren't just going to wander around for the most part where it's wide open. They're going to start congregating and moving from that wide open area during the winter to thicker, heavier cover, using that cover to cross so that they can get through and to their other, summering ground, I guess, if you will, the regular habitat area. So being aware of where you're driving, if it's the same route you take all the time, you should have your eyes open and know, hey, there's a farmer's field here, there's a big patch of woods, there's a ravine down there, there's a creek bed around this corner. Start looking on the side of the road for those, signs that say deer crossing. That's usually a good indicator. And you can sometimes see where deer have been traveling in the snow. So you have a good idea that, hey, this spot on, Highway 142 might be a great area for me to slow down and keep an eye out for deer. Okay. So knowing your terrain and how to read that from a deer's perspective is going to be key. The other thing that we want to think about is how is it that we're driving? Are we just driving with our eyes straight on the road, or should we be more of a scanning technique? So I'm going to demonstrate this. Hopefully it works for you. When I drive down the road and it's dark and I'm leaving work going home, my eyes are constantly backing and forthing from one side of the road to the other. And what I'm looking for are horizontal shapes, like a deer's back. I'm looking for something out of place, or I'm looking for the glowing of the eyes when my headlight hits that area. So that's going to be an indicator that, hey, there's something there that's not usually there. So I'll take my foot off the gas, I'll slow down, and I will increase my searching and scanning. So there's a saying, when there's one, there's more. That is always the case for the most part with deer. They are a herd animal for the most part. They travel in pairs or more. So if you see a deer and it crosses the road, awesome, that's super cool, but slow down, because there's usually one or two more behind it. And if you just speed up and ignore that, the other ones will run into the side of the vehicle or in front of your vehicle, and that's when bad things happen. So searching and scanning, watch my eyes. If I'm driving around, I am going like this. It's like I just move my eyes every second or so, and I'm just driving, and I'm looking, and I'm looking, and I'm looking, and I'm looking, scanning the areas on the side to see those shapes that are out of place or look for that glow of the eye. So get used to that technique and habit. You'll also find that it keeps you more alert, and more awake if it's late night driving. Deer also travel during the nighttime because they are a nocturnal animal for the most part. So again, it's dark, it's hard to see. You're going down a dirty road, dirty highway in the wintertime. Keep your eyes peeled. Look left, look right, look left, look right. And then, slow down if you see one in sight. Okay? This is good information. I hope you watch, like, share, and subscribe. And again, help this channel grow. We're here for you. Keep your lines tight and shoot straight.